Welcome to Fierce Love New Year. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am so happy to be here with you today. Happy New Year. Happy start to a new calendar year. As our dear Magdalena Gómez said last night on Jazz Ready, we acknowledged that the New Year is celebrated very different ways across cultures. And this is just a way to bring fierce love into our upcoming calendar year with some amazing art. I am Doctora Xingona Diana Alvarez. I'm so happy to be curating this event at the Wisteria Hearst Museum. A big shout out to Kate Preisler, who was so welcoming and so ready to feature these amazing artists with me here. So I'm just going to get us started for Fierce Love New Year. We will be welcoming Yasmina Mattison for a conversation on BIPOC healing and art. I will also be welcoming Zoe Lemos, an amazing singer-songwriter, Nicole M, poet, performer, playwright, nonprofit manager, amazing human being all around. And of course, the glorious Magdalena Gómez will be joining us as well. And I will also perform for you at the end of this beautiful event. So I am going to get us started, as I often do, with a song with some poetry, and then we will move in. I have a new poem that I just said, I'm just going to read it. I was just talking to one of our performers backstage, and I was like, I'm just going to do this. And this is in honor of always just creating and sharing it with the world and creating community around just generating new work together. So this is called Every Tyrant. Every tyrant seems innocuous, doesn't he? 1, wilted eyes mucked with soul perish. 2, loud cloud. 3, trigger chigger. 4, no truth emanates from tongue. 5, seeks warmth with grubby hands. 6, evaporated oval. 7, no means of return. It is time to howl your song, corazón. You, defiant soul, you name the snake. Coax the embers of ancestors with your roaring pen aflame. Have no shame, transgressive you, birth you. Weave through the stars, weave through books burned, through bone souls buried, through the planet you dream. Weave through the terror of the whip. Howl with the kin in your blood, with anger for your becoming. Yours is the breath imagined. Roar of fire with us. So that is a new poem called Every Tyrant. And I'm answering the call of the poem with a song for you, and then we will move into our conversation with Yasmina Mattison. This is a song that I sing in honor of your artistry for the new year. I hope that you will find your way to your artistry, find your way to your creativity, because that is the way that we envision a new world. And it's the first step in building action toward a world that is full of peace and love, fierce love for humanity and for this planet. This is a song dedicated to your craft and your artistry, anything that you create. This is called Ser Artista.
Ser artista es dudar las maquinaciones de este mundo. Ser artista es construir contradicciones para vivir.
To be an artist is to doubt the machinations of this world. To be an artist is to construct contradictions in order to live. To be an artist is to have a nest of iron in your chest when you don't find your people. To be an artist is to make food out of words, movements of the body, temples of the voice. Your voice, tu voz, is the ultimate poem. Poem of being. Poema.
Para vivir, ser artistas, tener un nido de fierro adentro del pecho cuando no hayas tu gente. Ser artistas, hacer comida de palabras, movimientos del cuerpo, templos de la voz. Tu voz es el último poema, poema de ser.
That was Ser Artista by me. I am Doctora Xingona, your host for Fierce Love New Year. I would love to welcome our first guest to Fierce Love New Year, who is Yasmina Mattison. So I'd like to bring her on, and we're going to have a conversation on BIPOC healing and art. Hi, Yasmina.
Hi, Diana.
Yay! I'm so happy you're joining me.
I'm so glad to be here in this virtual
Yeah.
place.
I actually don't know how we came across each other, but I just know that I feel very connected to you because you shot photos of my opera when I first staged it.
Mm-hmm.
And these photos are very much like, I don't know, they've just been embedded in me as like the vision that I have, the documentation that I have, and I've just always recognized that as something that you did. And so thank you for that. That's how I know of your work. And
I'm thinking about, I was like, wait, how did I meet Diana? I don't know. She suddenly appeared and
suddenly appeared in your life just to say, like, can we do art together? So I want to give you a proper introduction. I want people to know of all the beautiful things you do. So I'm going to read your bio, and then we're going to have a conversation on BIPOC healing and art. And hopefully we'll generate a lot of resources in our chat for people to share, just to get the new year started in terms of thinking about healing for our communities.
Okay.
So Yasmina Mattison, sorry, my phone just did a little glitchy thing. Yasmina Mattison is a local artist and intuitive. Born and raised in Western Massachusetts, Yasmina is a Black mixed-race woman. She grew up in a home filled with art, music, and alternative spirituality. Working collaboratively with her subjects, Yasmina seeks to create images of intimacy, soul, and expression. She enjoys collaborating with dancers, painters, and musicians. Yasmina has collaborated with visual artist Laolu Senbanjo, musician Mal Devisa, dancer Jamila Jackson, and our own me, Doctora Xingona. She recently graduated from Hampshire College's photography program. As an intuitive, Yasmina is invested in working with those who see their own healing and liberation as a means toward collective liberation. She's completed a fellowship this year with Harriet's Apothecary Alchemy program, dedicated to building the leadership of Black and Brown healers. Between these two fields of healing and artistic expression, Yasmina is most curious about the Black tradition of transforming experience, trauma, and time into expression, connection, and joy. This year, her work has been published in the New York Times and exhibited at the Northampton Center for the Arts. So welcome, Yasmina. I'm so happy that we're going to have this conversation.
Wow, thank you. It sounds so beautiful when you read it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important because as artists, we, sometimes we have other eyes on our bios, but we compose our own bios. And so that ends up being the way that we kind of put a vision forward for who we want to become as well. I think it's a very powerful thing. So I just want to get us started with getting to know all the ways that you create art in the world. Maybe you can just, we've heard your bio, but like maybe you can tell us like, how did that come to be? How is it that you create art in these different ways?
Sure. I think, as I've stated in my bio, I grew up in a very creative household. My dad and my mom were always playing music and had paintings of jazz musicians all over the house, and photographs. Both of my parents are photographers, but my dad used to work with jazz musicians and photograph them. So cameras have always kind of been around. Music has always been around for me, and tarot cards also were always around. Crystals were always around in my father's house, and but they were regular parts of my life, but tarot cards were kind of spooky to me until college. But with art, I always was around art and was a part of art and music. I went to the Institute for Musical Arts here in Goshen, Massachusetts. And I stole the what's Anne's title? One of the director's cameras, and I started photographing my friends at one of the performance camps that I went to, and was really kind of surprised by the magic that we were creating. And Anne reminded me recently, like, that moment was a turning point for me. And that's one of the sparks that turned me towards photography and was like, oh, I can make something with this. And then my dad got me a camera for Christmas in 2015. And I started working in a darkroom at community college.
What community college did you go to?
I went to Holyoke Community College.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, I've taught at Holyoke Community College. Yeah, beautiful students in my classes.
Yeah.
Very brilliant. I love that you mentioned the Institute for the Musical Arts. It's a magical place. It's a place where I think that different disciplines, I see them come out in different ways for young people. And so you said that you stole one of Anne's cameras and you started taking photos. I also want to mention, because we talked about this before, like that you do production, music production and recording, and you recorded at the IMA. So, and just so for anyone who's tuning in that doesn't know, the Institute for the Musical Arts is an amazing, I like to say, a bastion of supporting women and girls in music in the area. Founded by June Millington and Ann Hackler.
Yeah.
And that's also the place where the Bridge Song Fund, which is the emergency relief grant program for BIPOC women, non-binary, trans, and genderqueer artists, is located. So you took part in some recording music camps, right? And so would you talk about that, the production aspect of what you did?
Sure. I mean, I went to IMA from the age of 13 to 20 something. I'm 25 now, but I think I stopped going when I was 21. So I went to performance camps, and then I did 2 recording camps, and I learned from Leslie Ann Jones and Roma and Leanne Unger, and those were really transformative experiences and really empowering. I got to run the board by myself. I recorded my own music and produced with, of course, a lot of collaboration. I would never call myself a musician, but I was writing a lot of lyrics and singing my own work and writing with my friends. And I engineered a lot of songs. And I engineered a bunch of songs on the second time that I went to recording camp. And that was really empowering, to be running the studio by myself and to feel comfortable and confident and have these giant women in music listen to the engineering that I was doing and nod along and say good work. So, yeah.
It makes a huge difference. On that level, I'm curious about the people. I know that I'm going off script. I'm just letting you know. We don't have a script, but I just have questions. I'm just like, it's just a conversation. So I'd love to know if that spirit of mentorship has carried on into your world as an artist now. who you mentor, or who do you think looks up to you?
I don't know who looks up to me.
I mean, I know I do. I'm just
Thank you. I don't know specifically who looks up to me. I photograph a lot of my family. That's a lot of the work that I've done in the past. So I have photographed a lot of my younger cousins. A lot of most of my cousins are women, are girls. So I photograph them a lot, and I look up to them. They're the reason I'm photographing them. It's because I respect and see a lot of potential and talent in them. But mentorship plays a big role in my life. I'm glad that you brought that up. With my tarot studies, I work really closely with Sheila Haidt, and her guidance has really shifted and changed my life.
Let's talk about that. So tell me how you want to go further in depth into how it has shifted your life.
Sure.
And maybe we can tell people who that is as well.
Yeah. So Sheila Haidt is an amazing intuitive who has been running her own practice and reading tarot since the 1980s. So she is my tarot teacher, and I met her in January of 2019. I started, like I said, I grew up with astrology and tarot being part of my life, as my dad reads both the tarot and astrology. But I studied abroad in Cuba in 2018, and I was going to be out there with no one that I was really close to before I went, and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to maintain contact with my mom or anyone back in the States. So my friend was like, you should bring a tarot deck with you. Like, if you need to talk to somebody or you need some guidance, like, you should bring a tarot deck. And I was like, I can do that. So that's when I started working with the tarot on my own, and just pulling cards for fun. And then from that moment on, like, I began to try and understand what the heck these cards were doing, or what kind of system and history that they came out of. So, yeah.
And you talked about Harriet's Apothecary, just completing that program. And I'm curious to know, like, what led you to them, and like just what led you to this interest in, I mean, our lived experiences. I think, like, I feel like it's an obvious question, but maybe we can just talk a little bit about, like, the pathway, your particular pathway to Harriet's Apothecary and BIPOC healing spaces and retreats and things like that.
Yeah. Well, my mom has been going to women's circles as long as I've been alive, and with like a cohort of her friends who are various races. So that's something that I grew up with and like participated in growing up. So that was a normal and regular part of my life, and something that I really crave. I think we all crave community with people who understand us, who can look at us with love. So that's kind of what I was looking for. I think also, so I knew about Harriet's Apothecary, I think about like 4 years ago. And I was kind of blown away when I heard about it, like a group of Black people standing in power and standing in collectivity. That's not a word, but standing in a collective and offering healing that it was from our own ancestry and that could meet our own needs as Black folks, blew me away. And I feel like a lot of New Age or alternative spirituality is very dominated by whiteness in this area. And I was looking for people my age, besides, like, I didn't want to just be working with or talking to my father about this. I wanted to be connecting with my peers and building friendships in that way. So
the thing I keep hearing is community, like
totally.
the desire for community. I'm curious, like, one of the questions I wanted to ask you is like, how do you describe your voice as an artist? But maybe even further than that, like, we can start there, but how do you see or envision yourself building community as an artist?
I think that is something I'm still unraveling and unpacking for myself, especially with the pandemic and
Yeah.
being indoor and being at home most of the time. I think Hampshire actually really, and I would say HCC too, showed me a model for community in arts.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved about the photo program at both institutions was that it was a very collective experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, critique happens, like,
Mm-hmm.
is a structured part of your education. So I was having my peers and other students and teachers and faculty, people walking through, look at my photographs in process all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and getting feedback and like unpacking the underlying issues and some of the work that I was making. So
Mm-hmm.
that's really rich for me. I love being a part of, I love bouncing my ideas off of people. I think collaboration is how I've made some of my best work and gotten me out of my own head as an artist.
Yeah, there's something about collaborating. I know that when I was a younger artist, I focused so much on just like I was in my own head all the time. And then somewhere in there, I was just craving community. And I think, honestly, the way that I started like creating in different mediums was a result of just like just being an octopus in that way. But my work, so much of it is just like I just want family, like BIPOC family. And so I think that we find different ways of doing that in our work. And I don't know, I'm excited for the ways that you'll envision that for yourself.
Me too.
Maybe based on the models that you had in the photography programs at Hampshire and Holyoke. Um, do you see like what's your, and it may also be like I'm still trying to figure this out, and that's okay. What is your, do you have like a social justice vision, or
Yeah.
you talk about like wanting to center around collective liberation, right?
Yeah.
And I want to know like how does that come about in your work and all the various ways that you exist as an artist?
I think whether or not it's explicit, I think it's always implicit in my work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so attached to the phrase social justice anymore.
Yeah.
Been thinking a lot about decolonialization. I've been thinking about unsettling and
Mm-hmm.
liberation. I think with my photography, photography was created to best capture whiteness when it was invented,
Mm-hmm.
and over time, Kodak used a white woman to create the color balance and the white balance and the standard for lighting. So, I center people of color. I center mostly Black folks in my work. And I think there's so many young Black artists who are, and there's a long history of Black artists who have been doing this work to center Blackness. And I think that in itself is an act of resistance, and that in itself is something that we need. But I also,
Yes.
in terms of liberation, the images that I try to create show what my experience of life as a Black mixed race woman is, and what I hope and what I imagine, and it to be possible. So what I'm really interested in is what it would be like to be liberated now, what kind of pleasure that would feel like, what kind of expression or grief we could let out if we were liberated right now. So there's a phrase, I think, Tourmaline, who is a Black trans artist, who I love her work very much. But freedom dreaming is a concept that she talks about a lot, and I think
freedom dreaming, is that what you said?
Yeah. So when we're living in pleasure in this present moment as marginalized people, we're living in freedom dreams is something that she talks about a lot. So
wow,
I think telling the truth about our experience as marginalized folks as we live it, and I think art is it's kind of the memory bank of humanity. And so when we as marginalized people are telling our own, recording our own, and creating our own records creatively of our experience, I think that's an act of resistance and something that has been prevented.
Yes, absolutely. Building an archive is so important. Documentation is so important. I love that you're a fellow documentarian and that you like are so committed to this. And this is like we could probably I told you we could go on forever and ever, Yasmina. But with one of our other performers, Nicole M, we've spoken a lot about like how you know, like the need for Black-centered photography and filmmaking, right? And we are finally like I saw profiles done of the director of photography for Moonlight, right? And like just the ways that people have been like we're finally seeing profiles on this, right? And we need more, just need more of that. And I love that you're doing it. I'm wondering, do you already teach workshops or something like that? Or is that something you have an interest in doing?
I would love to. So my goal as a artist is, and as a photographer, is to put cameras in the hands of marginalized people and to put cameras in the hands of like young Black people. I haven't been able to do that yet.
We should talk. I mean, I feel like that's a grant application. Like, just like let's find the, you know, I think that's a beautiful idea. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I want you to do that. I want to check our chat just to see if anyone has commented. Oh, lots of congratulations and cheering you on.
Oh, Julissa.
Yeah. Yay, Julissa. I'm going to show a video of your work that you created for us so that we get a sense. So before I do that, can we, we're going to put your PayPal and Venmo in the chat. So every artist for Fierce Love New Year is beautifully compensated by the Wisteria Hearst Museum. Thank you so much, Kate Preisler at the Wisteria Hearst Museum, for hosting this event. And we also decided this is a time where we just need to keep giving artists nourishment. So if you would like to make a direct contribution to an artist, I highly encourage it. It's the end, it's the beginning of a year, the end of an old one, and artists need our support. So we're going to put our PayPal and Venmo information in the chat, and feel free to make direct contributions that way. So we're going to move over to your beautiful video. And then, yeah, thank you so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure to talk to you.
And I'm wishing you all the fierce love and growth and joy for your new year.
Thank you. I wish you lots of prosperity and growth in 2021.
Thank you. Take care. Wow. Thank you so much, Yasmina Mattison. Can we bring Yasmina back on? I just want to say thank you. Again, I just can't say goodbye. No, I just want to just say like how celebrate you, and I see that people are celebrating you in the chat as well. There's just such a beauty, like you capture Black joy and peace and contentment in such a gorgeous way, and I feel that, as you were saying, that your work is an act of resistance, and so I just wanted to tell you, I just really loved what you selected. And was there, I know we had talked about like you, was this music that from a person you collaborated with?
No, this is from a
Oh, okay, okay. I was just excited about it. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And I know that we will collaborate more in the future. And yeah, thank you for showing us your beautiful work and sharing your insights with us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Take care, Yasmina.
You too.
So I'm going to have us move on to another wonderful performer. But before we do that, I would rather just introduce her with her multimedia work. So we are going to play a video for you by Zoe Lemos, which is called Uprising. And it is a video that was just, when I first saw it, was just like, yes, Zoe. And so we are going to share that with you, and then I will introduce Zoe, who will be performing some music for us for Fierce Love New Year. Thank you for joining us.
Grew up on systematic change. Read all about it in the Hunger Games. Saw police brutality through the Peacekeepers. Learned to not give up through Harry Potter. That's how I was raised. How did you not see us coming? My generation grew up on uprising. I learned love is love through Gaga and Glee. Percy Jackson taught me about identity and how history repeats. I learned about slavery and poor working conditions through Hermione. Divergent taught me about society. How did you not see us coming? 'Cause my generation uprising. Stone will rise, but I can't wear a rainbow flag on my back. I don't wanna backtrack. Stone will rise, but I'm so close to being free. And the people of color, they came before me. But this isn't about me or how close I am to being me. It's about Black Lives Matter, how we can change society. It's Black Lives Matter, and we can change society. How did you not see us coming? 'Cause my generation grew up on uprising. I grew up seeing blatant racism. I've grown up with blatant sexism. Knowing people will hate me 'cause who I love. I grew up with school shootings. I grew up with corrupt leadership. But that's not new, 'cause we read all in the Hunger Games.
Yay, Zoe Lemos. That was a video by Zoe called Uprising. Oh, what a powerful video. Just so many, and we're seeing the celebrations of you in the chat here as well, Zoe. But thinking about the way that you bring documentation and obviously your excellent craft at lyrics, your animation, all of it is just so beautiful the way you create in multiple ways. I'm going to introduce Zoe Lemos with her bio, and we will bring her on to perform some songs for us for Fierce Love New Year. Zoe Lemos is a 17-year-old songwriter, recording artist, video maker who has played in bands since she was 10 years old and is now branching out as a solo artist. Her music is an original blend of Americana and indie pop. Her lyrics tell stories of political oppression and hope, the love and struggles through the eyes of a young, queer Tibetan Greek. Her musical career began accidentally when, at the age of 9, she attended preteen girls rock camp at the Institute for the Musical Arts. We see a theme here in Goshen, Massachusetts. Zoe found her tribe and future bandmates. In her spare time, she busks on the streets of Northampton, Massachusetts, raising money for the LGBTQ Asylum Task Force, which helps people who are LGBT seek asylum from countries where being LGBT is illegal or is very dangerous. Her band, Zoki Band, which you can find with that handle, Zoki Band, on Instagram, has opened for Antigone Rising, June Millington, NRBQ, and more. So I'd love to welcome Zoe Lemos to our virtual stage for Fierce Love New Year. And hi, Zoe.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you for joining us, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
I love your festive background. It's so gorgeous.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to let you take it away.
All right. Will do.
Thank you.
All right. This first song, going with the theme of just like New Year, is a very new song that is too new to have a name. But I wrote it during quarantine of just like sitting on my floor and being like, my room is so messy. Oh my God. So I was about to introduce the song, but it doesn't have a name. So here is the song. Getting up after lunch and I'm worried about so much. Have 11 missing assignments. I like to sleep away, stay in confinement. I've lost all my confidence. And my room, it's messier than it's ever been before. And I wake up at 1 a.m. on the floor. And I've never been in my life less sure. Since March, I'm looking for someone to heal my heart. Next journey I'm afraid to embark, 'cause it feels like everything is falling apart. Am I trying to rush my start? 'Cause I've never been in my life this afraid of art. Critical, and I'm so excited to go, and it's breaking hypocritical, I know, but I'm so excited to go. Different type of cast. Something heal my wounds away, and something to mend my bones. Just a little bit of security in my soul. It's hypocritical, I know, but I'm so excited to go. And it's breaking my bones. I'm proof in my tone, and there's fire in my soul, electricity in my toes. It's hypocritical, I know. I'm so excited to go. That song is just about this, like, what on earth am I going to do with my future? I had college applications this year, and I was like, oh, what am I going to do? So that was how that went. And so this next song is called Sailing. There's something really wrong with me. I feel it all ahead of me. I wish I could go back before I ever saw that time machine. I bet I see the electricity powering my ability to fail. Tell me that I won't fail when things get rough, that I will. See, I set sail. They don't wanna sink, so let it hail. When the tide comes in, I'll be halfway to nowhere. So when you get right there, go and take the lonely road. I send a flare. Will you be there? And I ride that way just to crash my own parade. And will you picture me in the cold and salty air? I remember when we met at awkward times and I didn't know myself. I still don't know myself. I remember your button down. I didn't like the pattern, but you owned it and you knew it well. I don't wanna see you not succeed. I want you to go through life with take the lonely road, I send a flare. Will you be there? And I ride that way just to crash my own parade. And will you picture me in the cold and salty air? Something really wrong with me. I feel it all ahead of me. I wish I could go back before I ever saw that time machine. I bet. So when you get right that boat and take the lonely road, I send a flare. Will you be there? And I ride that way just to crash my own parade. And will you picture me? Will you picture me on that boat and take the lonely road? I said a flare. Will you be there on that way just to crash my own parade? And will you picture me in the cold and this next song is called Impressed. And I'm realizing now that all of the songs that I'm performing are all just like kind of a little angsty. But I mean, why not start off the new year with a little angst? All right, so this song is called Impressed. Once you showed up, my hands started to shake. And it felt like there was none that I could dare to break. Hazel eyes and crooked teeth and pretty lies. Menacing hat, nothing smiling. You tricked me into fearing myself for a while. Well, maybe I'm impressed. You got me doing things I shouldn't confess. So maybe I'm impressed. You got my sexuality undressed. So maybe I'm impressed. Poison, and it's affecting my ability to breathe. Sharp jaw cut in and I'm on knees so weak. All around me, your mind is frightening and I can't speak. So maybe I'm impressed. You got me doing things I shouldn't confess. So maybe I'm impressed. You got my sexuality undressed. So maybe I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm scared in bed, you got me unprepared. But maybe just one night. Well, maybe I'm in. Well, maybe I'm impressed. You got me doing things I shouldn't confess. So maybe I'm impressed. You got my sexuality undressed. So maybe I'm impressed. Yeah, I'm scared in bed. You got me unprepared. Impressed. I'm gonna just check the time, see if I'm still going at the right time. All right. This next song is called Tennessee, and it's a song about. I have a theme going on in my songs. What am I doing for my future? And this is another one of those. What am I gonna do in my future? So here, well, according to the song, not Tennessee. So at least I have one thing ruled out. I had dreams that we would end up in Tennessee. We would play in coffee shops and make our living tree. There would no white coffee order, our breakfast ordered too. Buttery love and smooth sailing syrup for me and you. Oh, things have changed. Oh, life's reformed in other ways. For you, me, and Tennessee. While breathing's getting hard for me. Oh, in Tennessee. I had dreams that we would end up in Tennessee. But I don't think that it could handle what life's got for me. Tennessee would love to be where I rest my feet. It's gonna be 60 degrees in January. I'll have my own cavalry. Oh, things have changed. Oh, life's reformed in other ways. For you, me, and Tennessee. While breathing's getting hard for me. Oh, Tennessee. And I'm sure I'll be gone, but haven't seen you in a while. And ashes brought up in the dial. And our fans aren't off the table, they're just falling off the side. I'm prepared to let them start to sweep them under the rug. So here's my last again, it's all up to you. Hope you know what you choose, and then you'll see it through. If you can save you me in Tennessee, I'll be your first stop along the way. If you can save you me in Tennessee, I'm only 14 hours away. Life's funny that way. Let's get the hell out of here, oh, of Tennessee. That was my last song. So again, my name is Zoe Lemos, and thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for having me here. Yeah, I'm incredibly grateful to start the new year off like this.
Zoe, that was so amazing, and I hope you will go back and see all of the comments of people just like blown away by your work. You never cease to amaze, and I just see you continually soaring. Keep making your beautiful work. So how can we find you? You want to give us your handles for social media and tell us how we can listen to your music?
Of course. Zoe Lemos Music, that's my Instagram and Facebook. Well, not actually Facebook. It's my Instagram, ZoeLemos. And then I also have this Instagram called Lemonade Studio, and that's where animations for people are coming out. And I have a YouTube that's Zoe Lemos Music, and that has a lot of lyric videos and other fun, embarrassing videos, but the lyric videos are what is nice to focus on.
And it's Lemonade, it's Lemonate, right?
Yes, it's because...
Studio. Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that people catch that because you do lyric videos and animation and videos in general. So if people want to hire you for that, that'd be great.
Yes, it would be lovely.
All right. Well, Zoe, thank you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I hope you'll hang around and keep listening. And yeah, just keep making that gorgeous music. I could feel like all the peace just running through my body. It was like just jamming in the backstage over here. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for everyone who is joining us for Fierce Love New Year. I am live at the Wisteria Hearst Museum in Holyoke. My name is Doctora Xingona Diana Alvarez. You can learn more about my work at diana-alvarez.com. I am Bruja Juana on all social media platforms. And today, this is just an event where I gathered artists who I love. There are so many more artists that I love, and I hope to continue doing events like this. And the wonderful Kate Preisler at the Wisteria Hearst Museum said, yes, come and we will host this event in our gorgeous music room. So hopefully there will be many, many more days where we can be live and in person in the future with music events. So thank you for tuning in to Fierce Love New Year. I am going to share with you now a video that I made with my friend Seth Gleer, who is the person who I'm working with to produce my first recording, my first EP. And we had this whole text exchange where he asked me to be part of a holiday special, and I just had this sort of grumpy characteristically Doctora Xingona response, where I said, well, it sounds sweet, but like, can we make it revolutionary? He was like, well, what do you mean? And so I had a friend, my dear friend Elise de la Cruz, texted me one day and said, I had a dream that you were singing Feliz Navidad, but you were singing I Want to Wish You a Revolution. And so I sent Seth this text screenshot, and he said, let's write it. So we did a radical revision of Feliz Navidad, and now it just feels like an everyday song, even though it has traditionally been in our mind as a holiday song. It is a Feliz Revolución song. So I'd like to present this to you now as an offering for how we should envision our new year.
Las vidas negras importan. Borders are a myth. Return stolen land, tend to this planet for everyone. Let's build a new world, a non-binary world. Let's build a new world, there's enough for everyone. I wanna wish you a revolution. I wanna wish you a revolution. I wanna wish you a revolution con todo mi corazón.
We counted all the votes. We removed a demagogue. But our mission isn't finished till we can all show up.
Las vidas negras importan. Borders are a myth. Return stolen land, tend to this planet for everyone. I wanna wish you a revolution. I wanna wish you a revolution. I wanna wish you a revolution con todo mi corazón. I wanna wish you a revolution. A Green New Deal would mean less pollution. I wanna wish you a revolution con todo mi corazón. Check in with your tribe.
Be bold with your love.
Wear your fucking mask and know that you are enough. Las vidas negras importan. Borders are a myth. Return stolen land, tend to this planet for everyone. Yo te deseo una revolución. Yo te deseo una revolución. Yo te deseo una revolución con todo mi corazón. I wanna wish you a revolution, a little income redistribution. Yo te deseo una revolución con todo mi corazón.
I think I've been muted the whole time. I've just been talking at you and you couldn't hear me. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to tell you how awesome it is that we have these artists here today creating and sharing their work with us. I hope that you enjoyed Feliz Revolución. Along with that same energy for Fierce Love New Year, I am going to introduce to you my dear friend, Nicole M. Young. Nicole M. Young is a performance poet, playwright, event producer, educator, and nonprofit manager, originally from Detroit and now based in New England. Autobiographical in nature, Nicole's writing seeks to fill the spaces for women of color whose fair representations are absent in mainstream media. Nicole is the editor of the recently released chapbook anthology, Locating Me, which features glorious poems
Hello, people of the internet. My name is Genesis Furman. I'm one of the co-producers of the show. Sorry, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulties. Deanna's feed just cut off. So, Nicole, would you be cool to hop on the stream with me? Cool. Alrighty. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Genesis. How are you?
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. And I'm glad that you're able to see your amazing face because you've done so much behind the scenes.
Yeah. Deanna just asked me to bring you into the stream, and while she's trying to get her computer back up and running, is it cool if we can start your set?
Yep, I got this.
Alrighty. Rock and roll.
Yes, thank you. I come before you, me, a patchwork made from those who came before me, a quilt made of panels reflecting generations of beauty, the beautiful, hard work, sacrifice, love, suffering, pain and sorrow, triumph and tragedy. The sweat shed throughout these centuries is only a manifestation of the labor put forth by a lineage unafraid of what's left behind. The tapestry that is me and the thread of my mama, the needle of my mama's mama, with the fabric of my mama's mama's mama. I, who became a matriarch well before her years, as those who came before me have left us too soon. I am only me because of them. I remain grateful for the woman that I am, have yet to know, and have yet to become. Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Young, and I am coming to you from my office here in Windsor, Connecticut. I have been in New England now for a little over 13 years, originally from Detroit. I am many things. I am a performance poet, playwright, pop culture critic, and philanthropy professional. I host a series of workshops. I do a lot in the area. And I love bringing artists together, which is why I love that Diana assembled us together to start the new year. I want to thank her, and I also want to thank the Wisteria Hearst Museum. They've actually presented us together in the past for hosting this event to get us started with the year 2021. I also want to give a shout out to Genesis, who has been one of our producers backstage, running all the technical things, making sure that we look great and that all of our information is available to you. Just a little bit about my work before I launch into the piece that I just did, All That I Am. I like to start off each set acknowledging my ancestors and my past. Many of the women in my life, many of the women who have reared me are now my ancestors. So I like to start by staging somewhat of an altar. My work, I write a lot from personal experience. I actually did not start writing until I moved to Western Mass. I've been an artist all of my life, but I started actually in classical music and in theater. So writing has definitely helped me to not only seek out myself, but also develop further as a creative who is contributing to our world. I write a lot from personal experience as a Black, queer, plus-size woman. I embrace all of those interconnected, intersectional identities. I also write a lot about intergenerational and paying it forward and carrying people as we climb. So I write a lot about community and supporting others. So the pieces that I will be performing for you today are snippets of that. A lot about the women in my life and the women who have influenced me and the women who I hope to influence. This next piece is After Audrey, which kind of morphed over time on my album, which was released in 2019, Input, Live from the Valley, which was recorded at Click Workspace in Northampton. It has a different title, and I actually collaborated with Diana Alvarez. She provided music, and it's a poem, The Woman Who Made Me, and her song, Brave Little Girl, and we brought it together into to The Woman Who Made Me Brave. Over time, it's evolved as writing does, and as many of the writers who I look to have done in the past. Now this piece is After Audrey, inspired by many of the works by the poet Audre Lorde. Praise the Lord. Have to do that. I love her work. So the next piece I'm going to read for you this afternoon is After Audrey. To the little girl who grew up to be invincible in a world that deems her invisible. To the toddler who once leveled with stones, who will soon look beyond the horizon as she reaches towards the sky. To the tween who stepped into her fierceness while acknowledging her fears. To the once little girl who broke through others' truths to discover her own destiny. To the one who discovered her prowess before she sought her wealth. To the one who, with ambition, wears awkward as an award. For those of us who continue to persist, aspiring for higher, even at the disdain of those with only doubts, apprehensions, and assumptions. For those of us, as we meet her with intention, may we greet her with conviction. May we only open doors for her that will lead her on the path, a blueprint of glee, prosperity, pleasures, victories, beauty, and peace. The next work I'm going to read to you, and probably as many writers have done, My writing career has actually been catapulted by my dating life. And this piece was informed, not inspired, but informed by a very weird crush that I had on someone in the region who will remain nameless. What may be? Soul searching, mind jerking, assisted fantasies lead one to wonder. Heart aches, beats break, awkward interactions lead to questions one is uncertain they want answered. Minutes pass, hours pass, days pass. Delusions continue to contend with reality. Love from another, the hardest to gain. Love of another, the hardest to abstain. Love for another, the hardest to remain. My desired affections, parodies of love pursued and possessed only in dreams. The love pledged through conjured fables will one day mature into a mutually adored, co-authored beginning. The next piece is Mother, and it's a dedication to all of those who have taken on a parenting role in this way. She sits displeased, congested in the condensation of her being, unsure of the rest of the unrest. One cannot be sure of her being there. She is unhappy, she is unsure. She cannot be what she could be, as we will not let her be of the being. She is of they, yet we cannot let her be thee. She sits waiting for a time that comes to know one must know of thee. She can be an ancestor or of the unborn. Is she even here? She sits still, resistor of none but herself, for she gives to others, but not unto herself. She could be undone, yet herself could not be just that. For what is in her heart is in her hands, which translates into knowing that her nurture will be reciprocated with nothing but neglect. She sits wanting to catch her breath, to feel her breathing, to know that she still breathes. Her singularity benefits the collected, yet she remains unable to collect herself for what remains of herself from the day to day. Her ritual is contained, containing what others need to remain. Still, she should see that her purpose coexists beyond her wants of our wants of her. She can desire, she can play, she can whet that appetite. She doesn't have to wait for us to grant her permission to simply just be. The next work, Ma Dear, a meditation on a matriarch, is a piece inspired by many of the elder women that have been in my life, including my own grandmothers. A stern, fierce, yet loving leader, one who leads from the heart of her home. She knew of you before you knew of yourself, preparing your parents to raise you to hold your own. Her heart was always your home, even when you knew that it would be a while before she'd be close by. Always the choice destination for holidays, after church dinners, and playdates with cousins. She may be the first, second, or third to hold you when you were born. She marked every one of your milestones as special occasions, gathering loved ones and making a cake full of sweetness, naughty ingredients to indulge only just this one time. She was the keeper of stories, some unique to you, and they never grew old. She was the keeper of secrets as well. You could trust what you told her was never passed on, and you weren't punished from what was revealed to her from you. She made sounds that only resembled spirituals, tending to recipes, braiding techniques, tucking you under her handmade quilt for a nap in your grandfather's favorite chair. Whatever you needed of her, whenever you've needed her, she always would provide without explanation or need for gratitude. All things done by ancestors, her mother, her mother's mother, and even her mother's mother's mother. We are so lucky to experience these inherited gifts. Your grandmother, Nana, Big Ma, Grandma, Mima, Abuelita, Abuela, Anayasak, Mimi, Ma Dear, the matriarch. To you, She'll always be the one that bestowed a love that remains even beyond her days, a bequest entrusted onto you to then carry your own village through. And the last piece was inspired by the year that we all collectively experienced together, 2020. I leave you with, I was there. Standing within shields of silence, sanctioned alone in thought, suspect of the edges of tomorrow, settled beneath the hopes of yesterday, satisfied with the loneliness of today, apprehended at a profoundness gained through this inherent voyage, becoming a whisper within echoes. There is beauty in waiting, loitering on borrowed time, by permission to sometimes exist even in a peaceful yet painful pause. A well-kept promise to slowly digest whatever is remaining to what lies ahead. Though I may seem absent and unable to be present, just know that without a doubt, I was there. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I want to send you all with blissful, fulfilled blessings for 2021. May it not be the dumpster fire that we all experienced together. And may you be surrounded by nothing but loved and loved ones throughout the year.
Oh my goodness, I feel that blessing.
Diana's back. Hi.
I'm back. We had a little bit of some spotty internet, but we worked it out.
Yay.
For now. I think it was your powerful ancestor pieces that I was just like, nothing will stand in the way of our sisterhood. Because I was listening to you on my phone as I was trying to get it together on my laptop. So, oh my goodness, thank you so much. And I think that the internet connection went out when I was reading your bio, and I just want to celebrate you as a phenomenal artist that you are. So I'm going to I'm not going to read it verbatim because it's boring, but I just want to tell people that Nicole M. Young is a glorious performance poet, playwright, event producer, educator, and nonprofit manager, originally from Detroit and now based in New England. Her work is autobiographical in nature, and she really works to fill the voids, to fill the spaces for women of color that are absent in mainstream media. She's the editor of the recently released chapbook anthology Locating Me, which features poems written by BIPOC writers based in the Northeast. You also have this beautiful workshop series that is coming up, and you started Black Writers Read, and we're going to get to see an excerpt from that.
Yay, thank you.
Do you want to give us a kind of, let me also say that your work has been produced in Michigan, New York City, and Western Massachusetts, and you have a self-produced spoken word album called Input Live from the Valley. So I hope you'll purchase Nicole's album. Go to her website, nicolemyoung.com. And would you give us a kind of introduction to this excerpt that we're going to show from Black Writers Read?
Yes. So Black Writers Read actually began as an event for Juneteenth 2020. I was tagged in a Facebook group a couple of weeks before that, and people just felt burnt out, uninspired, tired from the world that we existed in. This was around everything dealing with Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. And literally someone cried out to me, literally tagged me on a Facebook post and was like, Nicole, can you do something? And I'm like, okay, I got this. So what ended up coming to being is it was a one-night event called Black Writers Read, and I invited writers from all over the country representing different experiences and genres within the diaspora to read on Juneteenth. And it was like 3 hours long. It was about 17 writers, and there were a lot of writers who inquired about reading that evening, and we weren't unfortunately able to make a spot for them. And so that's how Black Writers Read, the series, was born. There were many authors that we felt especially emerging writers that we felt who unfortunately could not be a part of that particular evening, whose voices and work needed to be acknowledged and get the exposure that it needed. And so the series is it's like a completely different package thing. And this is done through Valley Society, which I'm a member of. It's a social group for Black writers based in Pioneer Valley in Western Massachusetts. And Black Writers Read Now is an online series. We air it on Facebook Live via my page and also Valley Society's page. And we use each episode to profile an author. And they could be from anywhere in the world. We wanted to take this outside of Western Massachusetts. And we've had writers from DC, from upstate New York, and from Western Mass. And I'm in conversation with a writer from California for the next couple of months. And it airs on the second Saturday of the month. We're going to hiatus in January to prep for Black History Month. And on the episode, we have the author read excerpts from their work, and then we engage in a dialogue about their work, about how their work can influence and inform the canon, and then why Black writers, in particularly now, given the state of the world, is so important. And so the clip that we'll be watching now is the episode that was from November featuring children's book author Dorsey Spencer Jr. Each episode, I kind of do something a little like Inside the Actor Studio, where I try to ask similar questions, because what I would like to do is, and Diana, you do this as well, and actually you inspired me and influenced me to do this, is how do we create this archive? And so this is why there's like a standard set of questions that I ask each author. And the question that I tend to close out with is, somewhere along the lines of, what is your responsibility as a Black author now, especially considering Black Lives Matter? And so I ask each author to respond to that question based on where they're situated in their genre. And so the clip that you'll be watching now is Dr. Dorsey Spencer Jr. responding to that question.
Thank you so much. I love your work.
I love you.
I love you.
I love
All right,
you.
so we're going to feature, you get Nicole and I on the screen. We're just going to be like, I love you back and forth. And that's what we should do for Fierce Love New Year.
Yes.
So I want to share Nicole's clip for Black Writers Read right now. Thank you so much for your work in the world.
Thank you for inspiring me and reminding me of the importance of my work in the world. And then the last question that I want to close us out with, and it alludes back to why the series was started, and also the moment that we are existing in our society in this time. And I want this question to come across as inspiring rather than bleak.
Okay.
What does it mean to create as a Black children's picture book author in the time of Black Lives Matter?
That's an excellent question. For me personally, it's a very empowering opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to create, right? I with the underlying message of Black Lives Matter, right? There's nothing more powerful than representation, right? To be seen, right? To show value to someone within this particular moment in history, right? The idea that we are going to elevate and amplify the voices of Black people, right? Whether that's, Black people are not monolithic. So there are just so many stories that can be told, and particularly in children's picture books, right? And that's why you have such a range from, I'm Black and beautiful to we are engaging in these activities, to these life lessons, to I know my rights, to encouraging Black kids to get involved with STEM or STEAM, right? All these different narratives that can be, then there's the science fiction and all those different things, right? So I think at this time it is those who write or publish, right, or literary agents have a responsibility to amplify the voices of Black people at this time, right? I can think about it. This is one of the things I thought about as I was writing this book, is I really can't remember too many children's books that had a Black male, a Black boy protagonist, right? I can't think of many that happened when I can't think of many that had Black people in general as the protagonists, right? Many times those books were had white protagonists, or they had animals, right? Those were the kind of things that you saw. They generally were not reflective of us, right? And I think that what is the messaging that you are sending to Black and brown kids when they don't see themselves in the books, when they are not the protagonists of the stories, right? What does that tell them? What does that do to them psychologically? So I think this is this is a period of great opportunity, right? To whether you are self-publishing, whether you are working with a major publisher, right, to put out stories and narratives around the Black experience, right, and for ourselves, right, as Black people, but also for the masses, right, because it also is important for non-Black people to see Black people as protagonists, right. I think of shows like Dr. McStuffins, right. That's a book. That's a show that people, regardless of who they are, love that show, right? But it has a Black protagonist, and that tells little Black boys and girls that they can be doctors, but it also shows to the masses that, you know, children of color can be these things, right? That they can want and have a future and matter, right? That they matter as much as any other child, right? I think of Craig and of the Creek, I think is what it's called, right? It was one of those on Cartoon Network, is another show with a Black protagonist. But I think we have to get to a point where that is more the norm, right? Where representation and diverse representation of people of color is at the forefront, right? It's you know, I showcased a statistic not too long ago where there were more animals that were highlighted in children's books than people of color collectively, right? All people, right? Which tells us something, right? That we'd rather write about or focus on a bear or, you know, a rabbit and all those things rather than people, and highlight other existing people who actually exist, right? Or people that are more representative, characters that are more representative. So I think that at this point, it's time for us to take advantage of this opportunity to really highlight representation, to really highlight the diversity and the nuances of BIPOC people and Black people and people of color in general. So this is, I like you said, I don't see it as so much as a bleak. I mean, there's a bleakness within the idea that we have to tell people that we matter, right? In that, but I think there's also the opportunity of taking it on ourselves and saying, you know what, we're not going to wait around for you to acknowledge us anymore, right? We're going to actually make sure that you see us, and we're going to be very intentional in making sure that you see us in all the various colors and shades and nuances and experiences that we are as a people.
Yes. Thank you so much for that. And this is exactly why Black Writers Read was established in the way that it was. Like, it was very intentional. We were like, we're looking for writers of the African diaspora because this is representation that is missing in so many genres of writing, and also focusing on all genres of writing. Myself, I'm a poet, playwright, and working on a memoir, but I want to make sure that the floor is open to all, because I can definitely say in other genres, not only just in the ones that I work in, we are either intentionally absent or we are intentionally placed in a way that doesn't display our fullness of experiences. And then also I wanted Black Writers Read to be an opportunity for people to learn about our process, because the end product is very important, but as creatives, the creative process is due respect as well.
Hi, Deanna. I hate to interrupt, but you are muted.
Oh, Lord.
All right.
Thank you so much. Um, Thank you so much, Nicole, for joining us and for sharing your work with Black Writers Read. You'll notice that every single artist that we have presented today for Fierce Love New Year is a multifaceted artist with so many different ways that they approach their own work, so many layers to the things that they do. And while we thrive in community with one another and with fierce love happens in action as well. So I'd like to encourage you all to support each artist directly. We're putting their Venmo handles and their PayPal accounts in the chat, and you can just send your appreciation to that artist. We are also compensating artists as part of Fierce Love New Year. Thank you to the Wisteria Hearst Museum for hosting us. And I want to give you the opportunity to support artists as well, to support them directly. So thank you, Nicole M. Young, fabulous Llama Mama sister. I would love to introduce you to our next artist for Fierce Love New Year, the incomparable Magdalena Gómez. And when I really think of someone who has unparalleled craft and who is just a genuine heart of a person who cares about humanity and who cares about this planet and applies that to everything that she does and every word that she utters, I think of Magdalena. And so I am so glad and so honored that you have joined us today, Magdalena. So Magdalena Gómez, Poet Laureate of Springfield, Massachusetts, is the daughter of a Spanish Gitano Romani gypsy father and a Puerto Rican mother who raised to be a storyteller. The intellectually gifted child of unschooled parents, she discovered the works of Ralph Waldo Emerson and translations of Chinese women poets on her own at the age of 8 in a South Bronx library and has been writing ever since. She is an award-winning performance poet, playwright, performer, teaching artist, and highly sought after keynote speaker and workshop facilitator. She is such an accomplished artist. I encourage you to go and read about her work, buy her book, Shameless Woman. You can learn more about Magdalena Gómez at magdalenagomez.com. And I'd like to introduce Magdalena Gómez.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you so much for inviting me to be here with all these wonderful artists. And this reminds me of the, the poetry salons I did in my youth. They were in a living room in a stranger's home. Those were the days in the 70s. Emily Glenn, she was like the doyenne of poetry in Greenwich Village, New York, and also down on the Lower East Side. She was there for a while, and she invited total strangers into her home to read their poetry through a little bulletin board that was on the Village Voice, the newspaper that we all read diligently every week to find out what was free going on that we could do. And here is something free for you from my book, Shameless Women. It's woman, shameless woman. Well, I guess since there's so many women here today, it's shameless women for now. So something for the girls. Thank you, Diana, for requesting this. Something for the girls, these hips clear a path when I walk. I am tomorrow's body, pay attention, child, listen when I talk. My vibe yanks eyes from sockets down Broadway uptown with these Puerto Rican, Dominican, Roma, Arab, Sephardic hips, love in my eyes, the sword of truth behind my lips. Never too old to dance, cut it up with men and women half my age. I will not behave. I wear with pride my ancestral name. I know the place from where this vessel came. I know the place from where this vessel came. Don't ever feel ashamed or mortified by your 2 full loaves of sweet brown thigh. A body loved keeps the soul divine. Beauty is a word wielded like a blade, selling you lies in every shade. It cuts you up and puts you back together, mocks you to the frizz, so you even fear the weather. Girl to the mirror, losing the fight that nothing looks good and nothing looks right. Nothing looks good and nothing looks right. Kill one more day, sit alone one more night, 'cause I'm never just right, never just right, never just right, never just right, never just right. Flick off the lights before you come in. Words your lover should never hear. Never make love in a state of fear. Stop, girl, stop. Lay the self-hate down. A queen must never misplace her crown. Dance that body till you feel it again. Treat it with love, like a loyal friend. Straddle the drum, sister, as memory sleuth. These afflictions of fiction begin in our youth. They can hit us hard at any time. Put lipstick to use and draw the line. Never cross to the other side. That swindles your mind. Let the blues move your soul, but don't let them move in. You know how a song can get under your skin. Straddle the drum, sister. Slap it hard, sister. Slap it hard. Not to hurt, but to feel. Not to break, but to heal. Feel the skin of the drum, sister. Feel the skin of the drum. Hear the ancestors call you to all that you are. Aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti. Hear the voices call, aquí pa ti, never alone. Your body, your home, wherever you go. Aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti. I'm here for you, be here for me. I'm here for you, be here for me. This body has counted and folded time, birthed the history and mystery of a sacred line. A body embraced keeps the soul divine. Aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti. I will always be aquí pa ti. I am here for you, be here for me. Love your body, love your people, love your body, love your people, love your body, love your people. Aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti. Every thought, a tool or weapon, liberation or demise. Time is short, sister. Choose your side. Your ass your own, or the master's? You decide. Aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti, aquí pa ti. A body kept sacred keeps the soul divine. Palo. Dueña de su ser, mujer, dueña de su ser. No quiere tu pena ni maldita caridad, solo quiere justicia sembrada en igualdad. Alzar bandera no basta, vale nada sin viento, turbinas de obra los cuerpos liberados de sentimiento. No me pidas ser sufrida, soy el palo, no la astilla. No me pidas ser sufrida, soy el palo, no la astilla. Hormigas campantes sin fronteras, pasamos por donde nos guste. Al picar, ¡ja!, caemos en cuenta. Ser hormiga es ser guerrera. Conjuramos montes, sistemas que reviven aunque los quemen. Generaciones siguen, ocultos en ojo de girasol, en pecas de azucenas, almas indígenas nos palpitan en las venas. Hormigas curanderas, bordamos mantos de amor con sangre y arena. Hermanas todas, aunque nacida en la luna, ninguna es ajena. Dueña de su ser, mujer, dueña de su ser, no quiere tu pena ni maldita caridad, solo requiere justicia sembrada en igualdad. ¿Cuál remedio, mi pueblo, en las heridas de hoy? Hoja, semilla o raíz. No me pidas ser sufrida, soy el palo, no la astilla. No hay cadena de hierro para cuello de hormiga. No me pidas ser sufrida, soy el palo, no la astilla. No me pidas ser sufrida, soy el palo, no la astilla. Guerrera, curandera, hormiga. On December 29th of 2020, the people of central Croatia suffered a massive earthquake, and that earthquake had repercussions around the surrounding countries as well. Now, the people of central Croatia had not experienced an earthquake in over 100 years, so they were not prepared for that. But the one thing they were prepared for was to love their neighbors. It was so beautiful to watch. Horrible and beautiful, like last year was, all around this world. The best of people and the worst of people, with the light was shown on both of those things. And in this Al Jazeera news coverage, what I saw was men with their bare hands in cold weather with no coats, going through rubble, putting themselves at risk to look for bodies, to look for the living. I saw them pull out a little child who was still alive. And that kind of love is the fierce love, the unconditional love, the daring and courageous love that Diana is talking about when she decided to name this Fierce Love. That child was pulled out alive. Death was promised, and that promise was broken by the loving hands of these people. And those are the promises that need to be broken, the ones that should have never been made in the first place. And I'm talking about those earthquakes of massive evil and unkindness toward each other. And now as we enter 2021, let's enter with a fierce love. Fierce love will not recoil from darkness. Fierce love has a spine. Fierce love does its time in the solitude of self-reflection, knowing we have all failed life's call to the all of who we are. Bitter driving force towards the sweetness of essence. There is no me without the wisdom won in suffering and loss. Fierce love hunts the untamed ego, not to kill, but to heal the roots of the wound that gave it fangs and claws, grown so long they mute truth, cheat in battle, run from pain. Fierce love finds its place among weeds to share its bloom, does not allow itself to be choked to belong. Fierce love knows how to garden itself into a space for others to grow. Fierce love is the root of knowing the unseen that speaks without words, keeping us safe in times of war. Neither victim nor gun nor sword, fierce love the only flag that must never be half-mast. Fierce love, the only flag that defines us and makes us worthy of a name. All blessing to those beautiful people of Croatia and to all of the people around the world who experienced such deep suffering in 2020. We're going to come together and we're going to make 2021 a hell of a lot different. That's what fierce love is about.
Wow, thank you so much, Hermana Magdalena, for that stunning set. I also want to thank Jim Lesko from Amherst Media for working on the video with you, and I'm just so amazed by the love you bring in the world with your art. So thank you for that, and always thank you for reminding us that the true power of intergenerational sisterhood and and kinship. Thank you. I would like to take a moment before I perform for you to give a shout out to my co-producer here, Genesis Furman. We created a video together for their queer music festival, I Need Space. And this is a song called Battle Cry. The last chapter of I Need Space was all artists were given the call to cover another I Need Space performer. And so one of the things I said was, oh, I love Skip the Needle. They're this amazing band from the Bay Area that sings about liberation, and I just wanted to cover a song by them. And it's probably a song that you would never expect to hear from me. But Genesis Furman made this possible. You can't see them right now. They're hiding in the producer role, but they are a phenomenal songwriter and musician, multi-instrumentalist, and producer as well. And they do many, many different things. They also design the graphics for Fierce Love New Year. So thank you so much, my beloved Genesis. And I'd like to feature Battle Cry right now, and then I will end our Fierce Love New Year program with some music for you. What do you think? Thank you, Zoe. That was featuring Corazoncito, my little kitty who I can't wait to get back to right now because she's probably like, "Where's Mama? I'm the pandemic kitten, and you're not here." Thank you so much, Genesis Furman, for working on that song with me. I decided that there was no way that I could keep that energy going, so I was just going to take it down really slow after that. And in the spirit of Fierce Love New Year, I have a song that is part of my opera, Quiero Volver, a Chica Next Ritual Opera, that is, it is grounded in the understanding of motherlessness that I have lived with most of my life. And I've come to know as a very motherful person because I lost my birth mother very young. I've had very many beautiful mentors and a grandmother and mother figures who've come into my life, and sisters and friends and just people who are kindred people in my life, chosen family. And so in this song, I remember writing it about becoming who I needed to be. And also in the second verse, I name all of my ancestors. And so in the song, it is a sort of ancestral altar in the second verse. So I'm going to start with Orphan's Heart, Orphan's Will, and sing us a few songs for you to close out our night here with Fierce Love New Year. I want to send my absolute dear love to all the artists who participated today. Thank you so much for joining me on short notice, and thank you to the Wisteria Hearst Museum also for so much beautiful support for this event. I hope there will be many, many more. So I'm going to stop talking and play some music for you.
I've had a sinkhole in the gut ever since my mama flew away, flew away. Ever since there's an ocean in my throat, I have an orphan's heart, orphan's will that pulls me toward your eyes, your eyes. Even though I know you'll go too, I've had trouble being hungry on a road I cannot name, and trouble asking for what will not satisfy. I've had trouble being sloppy, secondary, not what I deserve. I must be who I need to be, so I can build this whole family. I don't see who I need to see, so I will build this whole family. Mis santos son Giorgio, María, Irene y la sirena linda, santos que florecen mi cantar. Aquí llevo una familia grande y hermosa, adentro, adentro. Así es que mi cuerpo es su hogar. Pero pulsos, pasos, ojos, tu guitarra bien amada son signos que tocar. Es el lenguaje del amor. Yo quiero alimentarme hasta que me siento llena, aunque todo acá I can build this whole family. I don't see who I need to see, so I will build this whole family. Oh, I have an orphan's heart, orphan's will, that pulls me toward your eyes, oh, your eyes.
That was Orphan's Heart, Orphan's Will by me, Doctora Xingona, your host for Fierce Love New Year. This is Para la Historia. It is currently at Park Hill Orchard in collaboration with Seth Gleer and Pascalina Azzarello. It's been an honor to have my work out there, and this song has felt very fierce this year, so I'm gonna play that for you.
Es inútil tu manera de atravesar mis fronteras. Soy humo, soy fuego de tierra que no puedes sujetar. Tus palabras traicioneras son oraciones de odio. Mi gente repleta de sueños no deja de luchar para la historia, para la historia. Esta es la revolución. Cuando cantes tus canciones de generales y de libertad, recuerda las soldaderas hermanas que no puedes borrar para la historia, para la historia. Esta es la revolución. Las soldaderas, las peleoneras, esta es la revolución.
I can't tell you how amazing it is to hear my voice resonate in a space other than my little apartment. So thank you, Wisteria Hearst, for this beautiful honor. It's a little cold in here, so I do need to take a little break just to make sure these strings stay in tune for your beautiful ears. So just give me one little moment. Thank you all who are listening in. This is in honor of our fierce queer familia.
I love your queer hair. I love your queer mouth. I love the songs you write. I love the mountains you hike. You are a poet in the want more queer love. We want more queer justice. We want. I won't let them take me away from you. I won't let them take me away from us. I love my queer body. I love my queer hair. I love the songs I write. I love.
Thank you to all who've tuned in. My name is Doctora Xingona Diana Alvarez. You can follow me on social media at Bruja Juana, and you can also learn more about my work at diana-alvarez.com.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change's gonna come. Oh yes and well. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know change's gonna come. Oh yes and well. I go to the movies and I go downtown. Somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long time coming, but I know change's gonna come. Oh yes and well. Then I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But he winds up knocking me back down on my knees. Lord, there have been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I know I'm able to carry on. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change's gonna come. Oh yes and well. It's been a long time coming, but I know, yes I know, change better come.
We make that change happen together. It doesn't just come. All right, I'm going to end with one more song. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight to Fierce Love New Year. I'm going to leave you with a song called Relentless Humanity. I think it speaks to, I think the words of Audre Lorde and MLK have spoken to the idea that the oppressor exists within each one of us, right? And so learning to unpack that and learning to live in a way with fierce love every day, to honor the people and planet is something that it's important to me. So here we go. I need to tune my guitar, pardon me. I would rather interrupt my set than to give you dissonant notes, unless they're intentionally dissonant. This is Relentless Humanity.
Lounge atop your castle of gold. You roll around in your oil so no one will touch you. You rob friends, camouflage the truth. Your greed ain't good for no one. Your greed ain't good for no one, not even you. Lock children up in cages as they wail. You terrorize our families with your guns and your jails. You've built a wall around your heart, want others to follow suit. Your hate ain't good for no one. Your hate ain't good for no one, not even you. Pay up for the lives we've lost. Pay up for the damage you caused. Pay up your reparations to our relentless humanity. Oh, punch a woman in her mouth por decirte no. You shove a door in my face for being queer. You sign away our rights with a deceitful pen. Your hands ain't good for no one. Your hands ain't good for no one, not even you. Back off your uninvited grabs. Disarm your entitled rage. Fist up for the revolution of our relentless humanity. We won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it end this way, we won't let it end this way, my family won't let it end this way. We will gather up the strength of our ancestors' will. We'll feed and tend to each other until we heal. We'll build a village without walls, guns, or chains. hearts were built for building, yes, even yours. Rise up with your indignation, sing out for those who can't, fist up for the reclamation of our relentless humanity. We won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it, we won't let it end this way, we won't let it end this way, my family won't let it end this way.
I have faith in us and our relentless humanity. And with that, this concludes our Fierce Love New Year program. I hope this sends you off into 2021 with some nourishment, with some inspiration to create and to take actions around fierce love. And thank you so much for joining us. I hope to see you again very soon.